Okay, on today's agenda, the question, how do you make the world a better place? Well, come on, I don't know. But you could start with a thank you. Gratitude is important. Psychologists have known for a long time that feeling and expressing gratitude can come with it lots of positive outcomes. Today we're going to talk about some research, though, that shows that saying thank you can actually make other people more helpful, both to you and to others. In one study, people signed up to participate in a research experiment about giving feedback to others. And when they signed up, the experimenter sent them an email to say, attached is a copy of a cover letter written by a fellow student named Eric Sorensen. The deception runs deep. There was no Eric Sorensen. This was all just a ruse. But people thought they were really getting this cover letter to read and give feedback, and they were supposed to email that feedback directly to Eric's email address. A little bit later, the participants would get an email back from Eric's email address, but really it was, again, concocted by the researchers. And that email that they got back followed one of two forms. One version of the email that people might have received said, Dear, I don't know your name, let's say your name is Bill. Dear Bill, I just wanted to let you know that I've received your feedback on my cover letter. Period. End of email, there you go. But people might have instead gotten a slightly different email back from Eric. This time it might have said, Dear Bill, I just wanted to let you know that I received your feedback on my cover letter. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful. So did that little change make any difference in the lives of anyone involved? Well, to find out, researchers continued their deception, this time posing as a different student named Steve, emailing the participants from Steve's email address, who seemed to be totally separated from the research study at all. And Steve's email said, Hey, I heard that you participated in a study where you gave feedback to another student on his cover letter. Attached is my cover letter that I've written. Would you mind giving me some feedback also? Now, participants were under no obligation to give Steve any feedback, because as far as they were concerned, the study was over. And so what the researchers could do was to look at how willing the participants were to go out of their way to provide extra feedback and be helpful to a complete stranger. Among the participants who had gotten the pretty boring email back from Eric the first time around that just said, Hey, I got your feedback, only 25% of them went out of their way to help this other student with his cover letter. But among the participants who had gotten a thank you in their first email back from Eric, even though the study had ended, fully 55% of them went out of their way to help a new student with his cover letter. Something that wasn't even part of the study as far as they were aware. It was purely out of the goodness of their heart to help another person. Let's take a look at another study. This time the researchers were looking at people who actually were already volunteering their time to fundraise for their university. These were people who were volunteering to make calls to alumni and ask for donations. Now, in the control condition for about half of these participants, nothing special happened. It was just business as usual. But for half of the participants in the study, the director of the organization made a stop by the office and simply said, Thank you for your hard work. We sincerely appreciate the efforts that you're putting in. Now, when you look at the control group, before this moment in time and after this moment in time, nothing changed. They were making just as many calls to fundraise as they had before because they hadn't experienced anything special. But for the fundraisers who got a visit from the director who said, Thank you for your efforts, all of a sudden they started making more calls. It was all voluntary, but you can track over time to say the week after the visit, calls went up. People were putting forth more effort into their work than they had the week before, even though, again, this was all voluntary and out of the goodness of their heart to help their university. But that simple thank you seemed to matter. So what's going on here? What is it about a simple thank you that can motivate people to become so helpful? Well, these researchers suggest that the key is a feeling of social worth. When someone says thank you for something that you've done, you feel as though you actually are contributing to the world, that you add value to the world. That's your social worth. And so in these studies, what they show is that when people do get that gratitude feedback, when people are saying thank you, compared to the control conditions, people report feeling more social worth, that they have more social worth. And that feeling of worth is critical for driving the helpfulness that ensues afterward, both for the person who said thank you and even to others who never actually expressed the gratitude themselves. So as I record this, Thanksgiving is right around the corner, so maybe this is just an extra excuse to say one more thank you and throw that into the world. It may just help make the world a better place, at least a tiny bit at a time. I'll see you next time, and thank you for watching. For more social psychology, subscribe to this YouTube channel, or go to beapeopleexpert.com and find new articles every week about psychological science.